Croeso to GreenWales, the channel celebrating the people, businesses and projects building a greener, fairer Wales. Every week we speak to organisations creating real solutions aligned with the Future Generations Act and the UN Sustainable Development Goals, helping Wales lead the way in sustainability and innovation. Let's meet today's guest. Hello there, will you give us a little introduction of who you are, where we are and what the business is, please?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so I'm Katie Hadley. I'm the charity manager here at Little Lounge. So where we are now is Little Lounge, the basement, which runs as a community cafe and a community hub. But we also have another site, which is an allotment. It's not a traditional looking allotment. It's more like a nature-based learning site with growing areas.
Like a forest school then? Is it like a forest school allotment?
Yeah. It's beautiful. That's just on the outskirts of the village.
Is that part of it, like an allotment space, or is that like just a bit of wilderness that you
No,
guys have
it is
tamed?
actually 2 plots of a bigger allotment.
So you have that
site.
network around you then?
Yeah, so we work alongside the other allotment holders and
this building looks beautiful. I've only been down the bottom. I saw the coffee shop. Amazing. And today is you can come in, get a coffee.
Yeah, so we do takeout Tuesdays because we're
that.
here doing our admin day on site. A few of our part-time staff come in, just helps to like chat together, but we also want to be open to the public because as the weather gets nicer, this garden is amazing to sit in, grab a coffee, play in.
We're in the, what do you call this space?
We call it the cabin.
The cabin.
You did refer to it as a shed, which I didn't appreciate.
It's a luxurious shed. Okay?
It's an expensive shed.
It's very luxurious. It's huge. I wish this was my space to build stuff in, okay? But it is beautiful. And I'm saying in a video on the way in, you could easily fit, like, I said about 4 to 5 families, but it's more like 6 to 8 if you've got husbands, wives, and children as well. And I just think, people always say it's away from the weather, but actually the sun is pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
In the summer months, so protect people's skin and everything as well. And I'm saying the building's nice and big too. Do you have access to both floors?
No, so upstairs is Kilbenny Community Centre.
Okay.
So that's actually a separate entity to us. But we do some events in partnership during the year. So that's really nice.
Do you collaborate at all?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, boy. Good. So we have a set of 5 questions that we ask everybody. And the answers that we get and the beauty of the Future Generations Act, it pulls all different types of answers. There's not one answer that fits all. It depends on the business, who you are, and how you deliver it as well. Mm-hmm. And what we find with some organisations, they don't even realise they're delivering the Future Generations Act, which I think is one of the biggest compliments of the Act itself. The fact that it's embedded itself into such a way that the way that you're funded, the way that you're supported, and the way that you're allowed to have these ideas and then be able to make it happen. Obviously, it's down to the individual energy like your own to get these projects happening. But the fact that they can happen in the first place sort of shows that there is an embodying and embedding of the Future Generations Act in the first place. So, let's get into it. I've got my feet up on the seat because I feel like a child right now. And I'm like, this is grand to stay like this. And we've got some bricks and I've got some children's stuff behind us just to show you the sort of activities that are happening here as well. Can you see the brick? I made a tower and I made a lovely tower. It's not
very impressive.
Thank you. My son would destroy that within about 5 seconds. He'd see a tower and go bang, that's done. He's 2. So let's start with the question then. So how does your work contribute to a more sustainable and prosperous Wales? And can you give me one example of how that thinking has influenced the decision that you've made?
Yeah. So the heartbeat of Little Lounge is to promote the well-being of the residents of Kilbenny. So we're a hyper-local organisation. That's our passion, is to bring high-quality, accessible events, activities and space to local people here. So I think building sustainability into that is just essential to making sure that it works. So, what we do has to be affordable and what we do, we want it to be sustainable moving forward because we don't want to necessarily be totally reliant on grant funding for everything we do because we know how insecure that is at the moment. A lot of what we do, we've wanted to help people with their own sustainability skills. So exposing young families, so children in their early years, when they come along to things that we do, like we do a lot of outdoor nature-based activities, we do a lot of growing. Children have, so even here, even though this isn't, it's not a specialist growing space.
Yeah, it's not like a green space with trees, is it?
No, but we
chickens.
have areas. So we've got like strawberries growing in one of the beds over there. We've got herbs. So everything in that sensory garden area is taste safe. So we want children to be out in nature and being able to smell it, taste it. You know, it's not dangerous for them if they put it in their mouths. And then in the summer, when the strawberries are growing and we're doing a baby group session, and we can literally bring the toddlers out and they can see where a strawberry grows, taste it, and it's just connecting those dots for them. They're like,
parents as well, isn't it?
Food grows from the ground, you know, and they're able to do it. And yeah, so like sometimes we've done like we've done planting workshops and teaching people like what's good to grow in pots, for example. What can you grow on your windowsill? So we've done projects with microgreens as well. So kind of like teaching people how you can, in a really small pot, you can grow a really healthy, nutritiously strong, you know, something to add onto your salad or whatever. Yeah,
I love that because we actually interviewed microacre whales.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all about the microgreens, basically, to bunker, and they'll love this. I'll give them a little mention. There's the link. There you go. Go check them out. Go buy some microgreens because microgreens are, which is amazing that you do it. This is up to 40 times more beneficial to you health-wise than if you just have a fully grown plant, etc. And sorry, I interrupted you as well when you talk about the kids, because I always think that actually the parents get either just as much or even more out of it. And I can just use myself as an example. I was brought up in a concrete area in the Rhondda, a concrete garden, nothing there. And it's only in the last 10 years since I bought my house that I actually had a garden. And the previous owner had like allotment fingers, like, you know, he was very green fingered. And especially during COVID, I realized about growing food, and that exposure myself then made me pass it on. So by doing the strawberry growing and whatever else, the kids are doing it, but you're actually really educating the parents as well, because look at where we are, you know, there's not much green space.
No.
You know, you've got to escape the area and get into the countryside or the forests, and they're normally forestries as well, so there's regulation there. So there's all these different challenges that stop us from accessing our beautiful land. You know, there's this place where we are here, we've got the A470 in front of us, but if you keep driving up, there's some beautiful farmland, and I've always looked at it like, I'd love to go for a walk in there, but there's no easy way to get access. You've got to own it. You've got to explore private land. And I think that's what's important about these spaces and how this has developed. This didn't look like this when you first had it. Absolutely not. And you actually, you know, in the long term, hopefully you'll put some birch trees in, you create some natural space and little bits like that. But it's already 20 steps ahead, 30 steps ahead than it was when you actually took it over. So that's beautiful. Thank you for that. So question 2. We've sort of dug into this, but let's do it a bit more. What do you actually do? And how is it helping Wales move towards a net zero or circular thinking?
So we started off as a baby and toddler group 10 years ago. So we started off recognising a need in the community, and that also was you know, relevant to where we were at the time in terms of what we needed to do. I was a young mum. I was a mum with a...
Still are. You still are.
I had a toddler. There was a group of friends. We saw that the village needed a toddler group, and we started one. That was 10 years ago. Over the decade, Little Lounge has developed and expanded because we've recognised other needs in the community. So where we are now, 10 years later, we've obviously got the community cafe space, this amazing garden area. We have got the allotment site, so we run a toddler forest school session on Tuesday mornings.
Love that.
We collaborate with the local school, Bro Tav, on Tuesday afternoons, so a group of students come up and do some volunteer work for us. So that's not open to the public, but it's a lovely way that we're engaging. Just year 9s and 10s.
Oh wow, so really you're going from one spectrum right to the other.
Which is, and I love that as well, because as well, what we've seen is like those toddlers who were like 2 or 3 10 years ago, we're kind of still engaging with that age, you know, with them as they've grown up as well, which is lovely. So we open as a community cafe on Thursdays and Fridays all day. And then we also run the community pantry, which operates from inside the cafe. So we've got like 2 sets of wooden crate shelves,
I like
essentially.
Shaping.
Yeah.
They're beautiful shelves.
Modelling them.
Yeah.
And we, so we're part of the Fair Share Go scheme. We pick up yellow stickered food on a Wednesday night, Thursday afternoon and a Thursday evening, and then we distribute that into the community via the pantry on Thursdays and Fridays for a suggested donation. But if people come in and they want to take it for free, that's totally fine. The pantry has been an incredible way, really, of expanding the demographic of who we connect with as an organisation. So up until COVID, we were early years focused. During COVID, we had to shut down all our early years projects, but that's where the pantry came into life. And so really the pantry really shaped now who we engage with in the community cafe. So
you've actually opened it up further.
Massively opened it up. And we very deliberately made the pantry an eco-focused project rather than a food poverty project. Because what we knew was, if we made it about, come and get some food because like times are tough and everybody's struggling, because of the community being so small, we knew that people probably wouldn't turn up for that because they wouldn't be wanting to be seen to be struggling. And why should using food, that's still perfectly good, why should that be a poverty-related issue? It should be that everybody should come and use this food and
save it from landfill.
Absolutely. Yeah. And anybody who's wanting to kind of rescue that food from landfill is able to come to the pantry.
So that's the journey you take with it. It's more about the environmental safeguarding more than the poverty side itself.
And it means that everybody can come and benefit from it. It means that less food is going to landfill at the end of the day. And it means that, all the different pantry participants who come along are from really different walks of life, but all kind of connecting together in this space.
Like that. That's a different take to how other people I've interviewed has took that. And I think that is actually a good tip to anybody doing it, is focus on the eco instead, because it opens up. So do you know figure wise how many people that come and use it on a monthly or weekly?
Yeah, so weekly we roughly get about 20 people. Wow. It's massively seasonal. Yeah. So like we've seen it really dip over the winter. I just think because maybe just getting out, most people walk here in fairness. So when the rain has been torrential and then they've got to carry a bag of food
which is often right now, isn't it?
We've really seen a dip over the winter. But last year, our numbers did go up to about 30 in 1 week. And then I was thinking, oh gosh, that's showing that it's more on people's radar. And I think it's because people are struggling to make their budget stretch.
Yeah.
I know
a couple of meals that are cheaper.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of people comment on the cost of bread. And bread is one of the things we get in abundance in the pantry. And a lot of people say they're so grateful that they can get their bread from the pantry.
You get kids sandwiches, it's all those things you have to have, isn't it? Because I realise with my kids now, when my son's not going to school, I'm like, I'm going to need like 3 loaves of bread a week. Yeah. And it's insane, we're not a high bread eating family, but because of packed lunches.
Yeah, definitely it's a family staple, isn't it? And, you do get those weeks at the end of the month where you just need to do a couple of beans on toast meals just to get yourself through.
Nothing against beans on toast. I do like a cheesy beans on toast on the weekend. I think it's luxurious.
Comfort food.
Yeah, I think so too. When the kids wake up at the weekend, like, can we have cheesy beans on toast? I'm like, absolutely, because I want that as well.
Yeah.
That's amazing that there's that many arms to it. So thank you for that. And you really can see how it has evolved from a children's nursery unit. What do you call it? Sorry, I don't want
to. Baby and toddler group.
A baby and toddler group. That's exactly. And now it's gone to something that is still a baby and toddler group, but actually you've opened up the demographic. You've opened it up to different projects. You've got the growing. There's educational now. The sustainability. You can just see how it's evolved. Yeah. And if you think about it, this is a nice synergy. The Future Generations Act's been over 10 years. And you've been over 10 years. So actually the embodying of that and the way the funding's come along, being like, oh, you can do it if you've got a green space. You can see how it's coming through. People can't see how the Future Generations Act is coming through, but I can by just talking to people like yourselves. I love that. Thank you. So the third question is you're going to answer this so easily, is what challenges have you faced, and how do those challenges affect the next generation coming through in Wales for yourselves?
Yeah. One of the biggest challenges we face as a charitable organisation is the lack of long-term funding. So our absolute dream would be able to apply for a grant that would last us 5 years.
Yeah.
And we could actually get those staff in place and build those projects really thought through, and build a project that will actually be able to continue beyond the funding.
Be sustainable.
Yeah, what we really struggle with short-term funding, and I would class even 2 years as short-term funding, because by the time you've found your staff members and they've settled into their role, you're halfway through your project.
They're not going to go in. Yeah.
And it also takes a long time to build that volunteer team and build those people who want to be engaged in the project. Yeah. And, before you know it, you're coming to the end of your project. And that's something we've really struggled with, is every time we feel like we've built something, then we're at the end of it. And then you're having to start from scratch. Yeah. Another thing that I've noticed, having run this from 10 years ago to now, I don't have the pool of people who can volunteer, because more people are having to work.
Yeah.
So my main volunteer team would have been mums from baby group who'd been with us from babies being 0 to 3, those babies going to school, but those mums still being at home or working part-time and able to come and volunteer. Yeah. And they understood who we were, and they were the best volunteers because they were giving back into something that they'd received from. Whereas now, most mums are going back to work after 9 months. Yeah. And so that pool of volunteers is gone. Also, you're not getting people retiring as early. So those people in their 50s, super skilled, super experienced, amazing volunteers, they're having to stay on at work longer, or they're retiring, but then they're getting other work because of the cost of living. To keep the income
coming in. Yeah. And it's really interesting, and something you definitely have thought about is COVID, I think, reset volunteering, where everyone had their established volunteers, but COVID just completely smashed that to bits. Yeah. And when I worked with other projects, we used to have 20, 30 people come. We're starting from 0 again. It takes decades normally to get that reputation in that building. And it's interesting you say all that, because even in my personal circumstances, I took a year off work last year with our little one, and we really suffered for it big time. And it's pushed me back into work, because I'd much rather spend some quality time with my children, but instead I'm having to work instead. And when the quality jobs aren't around, it means the hours you're having to work are higher, because you need to offset that income coming in.
I'm all for parents having that autonomy to choose whether 100%. To go back to work or not, but I can categorically tell you that I can count on one hand over 10 years the mums who have said they can't wait to get back to work. Over 10 years. Every other
connection, isn't it, with the child, is that first formative time.
Other mum I have spoken to have been devastated. They've got to put their child into childcare, and they've got to go out to earn the money just to survive. And that's not an anti-feminist thing. That is from years of experience of working with real life women.
My partner went back to work after 3 months. That's how harsh it was, because I forget what you call it now, the maternity leave wages, etc., just dropped dramatically. And it was just we can't afford for her not to work, because she's the main breadwinner. So I totally see that, Obviously, there are things that do help, because you get my son's just past 2, so he gets the 12.5 hours free childcare, which has really helped us then. So that does enable us to work. But it shows you that the system is a bit wrong. Yeah,
I know we're veering massively off subject, but
no, it is on subject, because this is a healthy Wales, this is a long-term Wales, and it is all part of that. And that connection with your children early on is really important. And yeah, I think having a free childcare of 12.5, or when they're 2 and then 30 hours, is actually fantastic for parents, because there's people out there that don't have access to free childcare, and they have to work, which means all their wages are going on childcare. But having those first 2 to 3 years formative. I think people have changed a lot as well, where people do want to go back to it to a certain extent. People I do talk to now, they're professionals. They're not I'm just going to be mummy for the rest of my life. They're I want to get back into work. And I know a few friends, who've gone back in because they love being with their kids, but they love their careers as well, and they want to have that. So I think it's just having a mixed option so people can choose.
I think it's having the opportunity to have balance
Yeah.
would be the ideal to aim for.
Yeah.
And I do think we need to change some foundational issues in the way our economy works in order for people to be able to have that balance as opportunity.
I think you're bang on there. I think there's been a few things, isn't there, the last 5 years with shock. Energy prices, food prices, and our wages haven't gone up anymore. You know, the things like 0.5%, and then that just means the people who are working at home have to work far harder to be able to cover it. And you did cover the first. I'm trying to think the first. Oh yeah, about funding and long term. I think that's a huge thing. And I know the current commissioner is now looking at councils and the way that they award funding, and I think that is on his radar, and I think that'll make a huge change. You know, Public Health Wales is also on his radar too, and I'm like, actually, if he does those two things, if he makes our health services much more sustainable in the way of environmental and grassroots way of doing things, working with third sector organisations, we're all going to benefit from that. And if the funding cycles do become more long term, they might go, we're going to give you 5 years worth of funding, but that's all you're going to get from us. I think you'd be happy with that than going, I have to get funding every year, every 2 years, and then I might not get nothing, or I'm playing everybody's playing the posturing game to get the funding again. Where if someone goes, you're going to get 5 years to be sustainable. If you don't do it within 5 years, then you're not sustainable. But that also helps you with your energy levels. Because if you're going, I've got this amazing project running over 2 years, and now I'm going to have to start fighting for it all again. It pulls your attention from the general business already. The person who's committed to working isn't as committed because they're only as committed as those 2 years are going to be. And no one's going to wait around. Like if you think about right now, we're coming towards the end of March. So a lot of funding's ending. But actually, you'd need to know 6 weeks ago whether that funding was continuing in order to continue the services that you are. So this is just a real world grassroots sort of look at the realities of the negatives as well as the positives. You know, there's so many positives coming out of it. So where do you see opportunities for collaboration across Wales? And, you know, you said you're hyper-local, so maybe collaboration with yourselves, and how could organisations collaborate with you? And what would be valuable for collaboration for you?
So I think one of the things that we would really benefit from is expertise from other organizations that could then feed into what we do, especially with like our kind of data collection. And, you know, like all the kind of stats that you need.
Social value.
That kind of thing. Like, I think people who are running the projects on the ground don't necessarily have that like massive expanse of skills and knowledge. So what would be really nice would be if organizations that did do that kind of data collection, social value, offered their time or
as their social value.
Exactly. So they could offer us that, and can't word that very well.
No, and also what could happen is anybody who awards you funding teaches you how to measure it. So if someone goes, we're going to give you 2 years funding, you need to measure this social value, but we're actually going to teach you how to measure it in the first place. It gives everybody the hand up they need, and that means you've permanently got it. And it is something I constantly see at the moment is companies are doing amazing work, but everything now is going towards social value, and you can take it in the wrong direction as well. It can still be social value, but not genuine social value, you know? And I think for collaboration, from what I can see is, so we talk about the growing project, but maybe the allotmenteers or the people who do run the allotments, they run specific sessions with you, but then they share the space. There's a place, Grow Rhondda, up in Treherb at Blaencombe. They have an amazing allotment, and they work with different people alongside them to produce harvest. So they share the polytunnel with other people. They've got a huge polytunnel that a lot of allotmenteers wouldn't have. And they're going, if you help us deliver a couple of sessions, you could also grow your harvest here, because you're only going to have a session once a week. And there's points then where you can't harvest because you're running multiple projects across the place. So you could maybe collaborate with the gardeners and the allotmenteers, the schools as well, and what they want to do. There's a potential there for collaboration, and invite other schools in.
We have collaborated with the school more recently, and it's been really nice to connect with local young people and the teachers, and they literally can walk from the school site to the allotment. So
is that the secondary or is that the primary?
Well, it's it's recently become an all through 3 to 16 school. So it's Brotaf.
Amazing.
Ysgol Brotaf, 3 to 16. But it's really, it's been really great to connect with, especially those teenagers who might not be kind of so settled in mainstream education, and it's really exciting to give them opportunity that
it's like a fire in their eyes, isn't it?
Them, and gives them a positive and a productive kind of outlook to how they can use their school time. We also have a year 9 student who volunteers with us here at the cafe on a Thursday morning.
Amazing.
So she struggles to kind of, stay in school at kind of 9 till 3. So the school asked us to have her here for a morning a week, and we love her. She's fantastic.
She likes that environment. And again, you're giving her skills then as well.
Definitely.
I was thinking weirdly now, I'm starting to see self-employed forest school practitioners. And maybe that's something you could do here, where you provide the space to self-employed forest school, and that be another income for you
so
guys
we've worked with Becky Rigg, who so she's a Carricoid. So she's a forest school practitioner that we've done some work with. I'm trying to think of some. So
I'll cut that, don't worry. But no, but with the forest school practitioner coming in, they add value to your site. So you've got all these lovely things, and they'll go, I do these type of sessions. Some of them might be up in the Bourne area, some of them come down here. The other families then see the value this place holds, and it gives people ideas then. And also they might mention things as well.
I do need to say though that our outdoor projects facilitator, she is forest school trained.
Amazing.
So we've done things with Michelle, who does our forest school, alongside other forest school practitioners to just run a bigger event.
Amazing. And that's the important thing, is collaboration, is bringing other people in to be able to deliver even more than what you already would deliver. And it just adds
not to feel in competition with each other. I think that's the lovely thing about the third sector, is we enjoy collaboration because we don't feel threatened by other people, and we know that working together actually produces a better end result.
Anybody who collaborates see the value in it. They do, because they go in, you're not just coming against, just like, so we're partnering, people partner, they come in for a year or whatever, they take all the resources, they take everything in, and as soon as they finish, they take it all with them. And it's like collaboration means you're building on something year after year after year. That might be relationships, that might be the infrastructure, that might be the projects that you deliver. You might do an event, every season or whatever, and you're building that every year. What can you add in, and you're collaborating across. So, and that's how things grow. And you say, it's how you measure those things is probably the most valuable thing you can do. So the last question, and then there's a lovely question at the end. So the last question is, when you think 20 years ahead, what does a thriving Welsh green economy look like, and how will young people feel the impact of the decisions being made today?
So I would love to imagine that in 20 years we are farming in a much more kind of naturally sensitive way. I would love to think that we have less factory farmed meat going into the market, less imported meat, and I would love to see Wales really celebrating its native produce and making that more affordable. And
compared to other countries, we're number 2 in the world for recycling. And it's like 0.2 to whatever %, and it keeps doing this all the time. And as a country, we are fantastic at what we do. I think you saying about our natural resources, not just food, but our energy, our natural landscape, they're all things that are hugely valuable to us. We're a very small country, but we have fantastic resources. And I think regenerative practices, having businesses use the old coal fields and put new businesses on there. We always look to other countries for our answers and that inspiration, and going, they're doing amazing work in Norway or in Holland. Look at them over there. They are so good. Actually, it's happening here. And it is happening here. And it's how we all integrate it all together. And I think 20 years from now, hopefully, it's integrated. Everything's integrated. And when you go and buy your flowers, or you go and buy your coffee, or whatever service you want, it's coming from a Welsh business. And that means our money then is staying in Wales and in enriching individuals and each other.
A trend I'm worried about, I guess, is online purchasing, and these huge international companies that it's kind of like people's go-to now. So like, because it's cheaper. But I'm really worried about like the effect of that on our high street and smaller businesses and local providers. And I would really love to see the younger generation value locally made and sourced products. And so
I think you'd be pleasantly surprised. What I'm seeing is, because they call it AI slop. When you go online and it's just loads of nothing. It's just all made up on AI. People get exhausted by it. I found that I go on social media probably 70% less since Christmas, because I've seen algorithms change. What I'm looking at isn't genuine. It's not good. And what I'm now grabbing hold of, and I'm seeing the younger generation do this, is looking for genuine things, which means real life, which means grabbing those businesses. I've seen businesses locally around here. I said this morning I got my coffee from Club Coffee. Their prices are quite high. They've had to put their prices up. But I was told them this morning, they're as busy as ever because they're genuine. Because people believe in what they're doing. They're not selling out. They're not getting rid of this stuff. They're going, we want to deliver this in the best way we possibly can, so we're going to do it. And that's what I'm seeing all over the place with these small companies. We're just in the first generation, the first wave of these small businesses coming through. So I think, and also when you do buy these things from these huge companies, you never truly know what you're going to get, what size it's going to be. You might get 1,000 of them when you only need 10, and it's very wasteful practices. And to be reliant on a supply chain that is maybe 2,000 miles long, it's very risky, you know, and prices can't stay like that, and systems can't stay like that. Look what's happening in the wider world right now with oil and gas. It's going to put the prices up on everything, and the way that we export is going to be. So I hope that in time to come, all the small guys will actually do really well because they're genuine and they're there for us.
Yes.
I argue with it. I'm sorry. I should have just let you carry on. Yeah, we're all knackered. No. So the last question. Who else in Wales is doing brilliant sustainability work that deserves to be showcased, and why? Okay, so I would love you to showcase Barry Sidon's cafe. So I used to go to Barry Sidon's when my kids were little. So this would probably be like 15 years ago. And that cafe was a shell, and it had some broken toys in the corner, and it was serving greasy chips and gross coffee. And I used to sit in there thinking, this space could be amazing. The setting is beautiful, and the space was already there, and it just needed somebody with a bit of vision to come in and really like just own it, put some life into it. And that is what they've done. So they've focused in on the kind of mountain biking community. So they've got a separate mountain biking shop and a repair shop going on there. But they also serve really good food, really good quality. I believe they serve Cold Town coffee, which is based in the Avon Valley. And they just do what they do really well, like cook breakfast, really nice pastries and cakes. They serve ice cream in the summer. They do like, burgers. They were doing, but I don't know. Yeah, they were doing burgers, and they were doing like, what are they called? Like topped fries. Loaded fries. Topped fries. Love that. Topped fries, really, really on top of each other. It's not a massive menu, but what they do well, and it's good quality, and you don't mind paying a little bit extra because that's a real business based in RCT, local ingredients, employing local people, and creating a space for local people to come and hang out. So, I love that. And again, it's, by the sounds of it, it's got healthy space. So it's green space. It's the parks. Yeah. Parks for kids. I swear they got a little lake. Yeah. Yeah. And then you got mountain bike tracks. Yeah. So it's just like, come here, fuel up. Yeah. You want a bike. I guess you could rent a bike as well. I don't know. Okay, well, we'll find out. But you can rent, let's say you can rent a bike. Let's just do that. But you can get bike repairs at the same time. It just means you can actually have a healthy family day out. Yeah. And if you don't want to spend any money, you don't have to. Yeah. But if you do want to have something and the kid's kicking off right soon, you can. And if you're hungry, you can also get fed as well. Yeah. All right, cool. It's ideal. I'll come and say hello. Right, so all I need to say now then is thank you very much for letting me come here. If anybody wanted to get in touch with you, to collaborate, to find out about the services, how would they get in touch? How would they get in touch?
Probably our socials. So Instagram or Facebook, we are Little Lounge The Basement.
We'll put that somewhere down there. I keep doing this, and in the videos I'm editing, I'm like, I can't put it up there. So I'm saying down here. But yeah, right there. So all the social links will be there. And you're on Facebook?
Yeah, Instagram.
Anything else?
Yeah, we're on TikTok. But I never check it.
Okay, Instagram, Facebook, I'll put it on
We've got a website, which is littlelounge.org.
There we go. Lovely. I'll put that all on there. And of course, please subscribe. If you do subscribe, it helps bring the exposure to the channel, which then brings awareness to these projects and hopefully brings prosperity to everybody that we've seen so far. So just from me, thank you very much for letting me come in this morning. I've just hit the mic, which is a good move by me. It's actually beautiful and the building looks really nice. I didn't know what to expect because I've actually not been up here. So I'm really impressed. And I love the cafe. And there was a gentleman I met who was like the administrator, but he's like, they're sustainability gurus. So it shows you that you are doing everything in the right way. So no, thank you.
Thank you very
much. And the last thing that we do, and I love doing this, we wave to camera and we say goodbye and then I cut away. So 1, 2, 3, bye.